Welcome to True Experiences, the channel where real stories come to life. We believe that every individual has a unique story worth sharing. Our channel is dedicated to create a safe and supportive space where everyone can share their experiences, which shape them into who they are today. We encourage you all to take part in this movement of storytelling. Let's uplift one another, inspire change, and create a ripple effect that reaches far beyond our screens. Remember, your story matters, and we can't wait to hear it. This is a story of Daniel. Daniel had always been a curious and adventurous person. He grew up in the capital region of Cameroon. After his secondary education, he applied to study at the university. When he got accepted into the University of Yaoundé, where he made many new friends, his roommate, who was older than him, had money and had cars. Daniel became curious about how his roommate made so much money and asked him if he was ready to learn. After a while, his friend introduced him to the Occult, which I will not mention the name. His friend took Daniel to strange places where they practiced rituals and promised to give him power and wealth. Daniel was initially skeptical, but eventually gave in to their influence. They took him to a secret meeting in an abandoned building where they would perform dark rituals and invoke spirits. Daniel felt a thrill of excitement and fear as he participated in these gatherings. He felt like he was part of something bigger than himself, and he relished the feeling of power it gave him. Over time, Daniel became more and more involved in the cult. He began to neglect his studies and spent most of his time with his friends. They convinced him that the rituals and practices they were engaged in were harmless, and they were just exploring new ways of experiencing life. As Daniel continued to share his story, he revealed even more disturbing details about the activities of the occult group he had involved himself in. He explained that they had been given powers to cause road accidents, and that a shocking 80% of all accidents along the Douala-Yaoundé highway were caused by them in exchange of power and wealth. The cult members believed that by causing accidents, they could gain favor with the dark spiritual forces and increase their powers. They would go out every night spiritually to target couples and cause fights in their homes. They believed that by doing so, they could create chaos and destruction in the world, which would bring them closer to the ultimate goal of world domination. But as time went on, Daniel began to realize that something was not right. He started to see the negative effects of the cult on his life and his relationships. He had become distant from his family and his old friends. He was no longer interested in his studies and had even started skipping classes. Daniel's involvement in the cult had taken the dark turn when they asked him to sacrifice his mother. He was horrified by the suggestion and immediately refused. That the cult members had not taken kindly to his rejection and had warned him that there will be consequences if he refuses to abide to their rule. Soon after, his mother had fallen ill with a deadly disease, and despite the best efforts of the doctors, she passed away. The cult members had claimed to be responsible for the death of Daniel's mother and was passing a message to him. They will continue to kill every member of his family until he complies with them. Daniel had been filled with rage and grief at the loss of his mother, but he refused to give into the demands of the cult. Instead, he had made the difficult decision to leave the cult and seek refuge elsewhere. As he searched for a way out, Daniel had been wrecked with guilt and shame. He blamed himself for his mother's death, believing that he had brought it upon himself by involving himself in this cult. One day, while watching a powerful man of God on TV, he had an encounter with God and decided to go and worship there that Sunday. and that was how he got delivered and disconnected from the forces of darkness. As he learned more about Christian faith, he realized that he had been deceived by the cult. He saw that the rituals and practices they engaged in were actually opening doors, convicted about his involvement in the cult, and made the difficult decision to leave. Daniel said leaving the cult was not easy. His former friends tried to convince him to stay and even threatened to deal with him physically. But Daniel knew that he had found something far more valuable than the empty promises of the occult. He had found a relationship with God that brought him peace and purpose. Drop your opinion in the comment section below. This is his story. What is yours?